coming back from another event, coming back from stuff, and now it's time to put that stuff into action. That's what today's topic is on the CopyandContent.AI report. Did you miss us last week?
I did. And the week before.
Oh yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
jonesing.
Well, I just cutting various body parts off and then having to travel and doing all kinds of stuff. This getting old thing's kind of a bitch,
Yeah,
Stu, but it beats the alternative. So
that
there
it
you go.
does. That it does. Something I need to get back into is definitely doing some more conferences because you can really meet some cool people at those things.
Yes.
And I always like to do this after conference discussion with my team, or even if it's just me, write down all my notes and organize all the people I met, into my database and make sure I'm reaching out to them and, foster that new relationship. So,
Yes. And I think that there's really the for going to an event. I'm just going to future pace this for everybody. Stu and I were talking about this, and the team and I were talking about it. Our big premier event has always been the gym boat for whatever reason, though. Some people don't want to go on a cruise, can't commit to a cruise for a week, all that good stuff. And I think they're wrong and really misguided. But uh, wait, did I say the quiet part out loud? I apologize.
okay. What we can
Uh,
do is have a land one near water. And if anybody wants to get out on a boat, they can go on a boat for a day.
there you go.
Yeah.
So we are going to do a land event next year at a hotel near an airport. So it probably won't be a sexy location like Atlantic City or Las Vegas or something like that, but it'll be definitely an easier to get to type location. But the four things that I always get from these kind of events, you learn some new stuff, you're networking, then you got to come up with an action plan and you got to actually change. Because I had a conversation with Susan yesterday about, so these are I digress, but what I'd like to do is just organize our discussion today around these four topics. And the interesting thing, though, is I'm actually kind of want to start with the change, because you go to an event like you've been before all the COVID stuff. You were going to the National Strength and Conditioning Association event every year. I think you were speaking on stage and stuff and doing presentations.
Yep.
Then kind of got out of the habit of it a little bit. But I want you to put yourself back in that. You just went to the event and you're all full of ideas, and you get back home, and what happens? What happens?
Most of the time, it's a brain dump, and you get back into your regular schedule.
You get back into the same old routine.
Yep.
And then a week later, have you implemented any and all of the great ideas that you came up with from the conference?
Probably not.
No. In fact, you have basically fought to get back into the same old routine.
Hmm.
And Susan and I talked about that yesterday. It was kind of like, hey, I feel like I'm just trying to get back into the routine and I don't want to the point where I wanted to just say, okay, I'm going to set everything down and redefine everything that I'm willing to do right now. And that's hard.
Oh
That's
yeah.
scary
Sure. That's why we go back to our normal routine.
because there's comfort in that routine.
Absolutely.
And so that's what we don't want to do, is get back in that routine, because are things changing quickly or slowly right now, Stu?
Very quickly.
Super fast.
Very quickly.
Super
Yeah.
fast, especially like with what we're doing with AI and other things like that. Look how much it's changed in just the last year. And so getting back in that routine is basically death, because what you were doing a year ago probably isn't working as well as it was. And a year from now, probably ain't going to be working at all, relatively speaking. And
Yep.
that applies to everything from making videos to running ads to You're using AI tools and things like that. So change has to be baked into this, and you call it evolution. You got to evolve.
Sure.
So the big thing is don't fight to get back in that routine, establish a new routine. Now, if you want to establish a new routine, Stu, what do you typically do?
I typically will set up a place in my day to do that new activity. Right? So
Okay,
I actually have to block out a particular part of time, put it on the schedule, because if it's not on the schedule, it doesn't exist. So
absolutely.
that's how I start adding something new.
Okay.
Give it a time slot and do it.
So, and that's basically that's what I did. Couple of things to add to that. Read a book a long time ago called Tiny Habits, and it's actually a really good book. It's about how to form new habits, and you
Mm,
form a new habit by starting small and tying it to something you're already doing. So, if there's something new that I want to do, I know that if I tie it to something I'm already going to do, then I have a much higher chance of developing it into a habit. So, for example, for years, I wanted to have the habit of creating a video every single day. So I tied it to letting the chickens out. Letting the chickens out with Jim, it's a classic.
classic.
Now things have changed, longer videos like that. Now the big thing is 60-second videos. So now one of the things that I've started doing is making a video when I take the dogs out in the morning. So it's not watch the dogs poop with Jim. That just doesn't rhyme with the, letting the chickens out with Jim. But tying a new habit, that change, to something you're already doing is the key. So whether it's sending yourself an email the night before to remember to do something, there's
Mm,
also services out there. Terry uses something, I don't even know if they're still in business, called Time Cave, where you can send yourself emails in the future. I think you can do that with Gmail. I'm sliding into old man
yep,
technology
you
mode.
can.
But send yourself an email, because if we're all respond to emails like Pavlov's dog. But here's the thing you need to understand if you want to develop that new habit, that change, because the change and the action plan go right together. Okay. Imagine this. So you wake up this morning and you're like, oh man, I'm going to go work out. So instead of changing out of and I'll just assume you sleep in the nude, Stu. Okay. Not maybe that's too much, but
I actually sleep in my workout clothes.
okay. So you wake up and you put on your workout clothes,
I don't
right?
have to. I already got them
And
on.
then, okay. So you're like the living embodiment of I'm ready to go work out first thing in the morning. But let's say you put on your workout clothes, okay? And then you go work out. Then you come home. You take a shower. I didn't say you took your workout clothes off. You take a
Mm,
shower. Now you put on the clothes for the day over top. Now, day goes by. That night, come put on set of pajamas. Next morning, put on workout clothes. Take a shower. Put on. All of a sudden, in a very short period of time, you're like that little kid from A Christmas Story where he's walking like this in that snowsuit. Because here's the lesson: in order to put something new on, you have to take something old off,
mm,
because you can't, let me repeat that, you can't effectively develop a new habit to create a change without getting rid of something else that has you tied into the routine. And so that's the big mistake that I have made over the years. It's not, hey, I can replace something with this new thing, but it's, oh, I can do that too. And then I
mm,
can do that too. And I can do that too. And you end up
yeah.
with your rucksack full of all this crap that you haven't even looked at, because it's the rucksack. And we're doing this because we've been doing this. And so every once in a while, you got to kind of take it all off, so to speak,
Yeah.
and examine what the heck's going on. But don't put on anything new until you've taken something old off. That's if you want to change and you want to do this action plan.
Yeah. That
That's
makes a
a
lot
couple
of
things
sense
to,
because, and next thing you know, you're juggling way too much and you're getting nothing accomplished. That's a good point.
or you have things that are knocking heads.
Conflicting, yeah.
Okay. So they call it diet and exercise for a reason. You keep eating like a hog, no matter how much you run, you're still going to be a hog. So
Yep.
you got to take off to put on. You got to not create competition with yourself. So we started with change. Now, learn. There's an old saying that 90% of your success is going to come from complete and total strangers. You better get out there and meet them.
Hmm.
And so by stepping into a learning environment, you're able to network with like minded people. You can go meet those strangers. But meeting them is cool on several levels. One, just meet people and know that you're not alone. That's great. Meet people you could potentially partner with, people who could potentially promote your stuff. Meet people who could be a part of your business, could become lifelong friends. The other side, though, is everybody's there with an agenda. I know, oh, I'm just there to, no, you're there with an agenda. Everybody's there with an agenda to meet people that can help them move forward. So the big thing with when you're networking is making sure that the people that you're networking with are actually worth spending time with at the next level. Does that make sense? Because we all get excited. We're all going to be friends. We're all going to follow up. We're all going to create an accountability group. We're all going to help each other promote our business and all this other stuff. And it can end up being the greatest thing or it can be the biggest time suck ever. So you just got to be strategic. So have you ever met somebody at a conference that you ended up doing some cool stuff with?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. In fact, a couple of times. A weight vest company
Mm-hmm.
who gave me a weight vest.
Uh-huh.
Right. I thought that was very nice. He was working me. Um, and I loved it. It's a great weight vest. So I therefore wrote a weight vest workout featuring his weight vest, in all the pictures. And it was just one of those things that one, I wanted to do one of those weight vest workouts anyway. And then also featuring him, he got something out of it. And he now gives that, workout along with the weight vest when people buy it, which is just an advertisement for all my other stuff. And
That's
so
cool.
everybody wins, and I think that was one of those relationships that is ongoing, and that's been over 10 years. So
Very cool.
that's just one of several
Have
ideas. But
you and I'm not asking you to mention names, but did you ever have one that was like you just had a sense like, hey, it's like Susan says, Jesse used to say, I like you over there. It's like, hey,
oh yeah,
you
at
just kind of
least
get those.
yeah, more so than I did business with.
Okay.
Like I would say it was probably two times as many of the folks that like I either had nothing in common with in my genre of fitness and it wouldn't have worked out, and not I don't need to discuss anything
Right.
with them, or it was like, yeah, you're kind of sketchy, and you're just kind of like, I'm not sure I'm ready for this one.
Okay. All right.
But I mean,
So
it is. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, those things are filled with the complete spectrum of good and bad partnerships. You
absolutely.
you just have to sniff out the right ones.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's one of those amazing meetings. You meet somebody and it's like you've known them all your life.
Right.
Like you're so like-minded and you're so like parallel lives, even though they're completely different, and you're heading towards the same journey, and that is something I can definitely get along and do something with in the future.
Right. And interestingly enough, at this last big event that we just went to, um, I was talking to somebody who I've known for 6 years, going to this same event over and over and over again. And we've always been friendly. And this time it was like, holy crap, you're doing this? Let me show you what I'm doing. And it's now gonna take off to something that I think could be really game changing, like big time game changing. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag here, but it was one of those things like everything, like the relationship was in place because of knowing each other from this event and a few other things. But now, because that relationship was there, that was created at an event, the in common business purpose appeared, and appeared like in a big way. And so I'm excited by that. So the other thing is just learning some new stuff. If you're just sitting in your basement or sitting above your garage, even if it's something cool like the world headquarters or Stu Smith International, um, getting out and being around other people who are doing similar stuff or different stuff but are in the same space can spark ideas. Because it's interesting. I love the metaphor of the pennies. If I have a penny and you have a penny and we trade pennies, we each still only just have a penny. But if I have an idea, you have an idea, and we trade ideas, now we have at least four ideas, because I have mine and now I have yours. You have yours, you have mine. But then we'll usually come together and come up with a cool idea as well. So it's just that whole mastermind effect there. So, big thing, all these. Are you interested in some of the big takeaways that I had specifically from this event that we went to?
Oh, I'd love to hear them.
Okay. Um, and Susan, if you have something to add, jump in. Like, come on in, and the water's fine. And be happy to have your input as well. But one of the big things, 60-second video. That's like that's kind of like 60 seconds is the new 2 minutes. that with video stuff, it's like you got to aim for 60 seconds. Whatever you're doing, whether it's a demo, it's an ad, it's just anything. 60 seconds, 60-second sections, 60 seconds. Big time. This just like that's the emphasis right now. Whereas, 3-4 years ago, the big thing was to go live on Facebook and talk as long as you can.
Right.
Okay, because they will automatically build you an audience by you just going live consistently. Now, this is it. And there's a bit of a grind mentality attached to this. It's like you don't know when it's going to hit, but you just consistently gotta put it out there, so that when people do find you, then they're able to, they're going to binge watch your 60-second stuff.
Hmm.
Is the big strategy. That was a biggie for me, as far as the video stuff. So that would be one. Number two, and let me finish the thought on this. So guess what we're going to be creating here shortly, Stu?
60-second video.
Video what?
Uh, I don't know. Just 60
Well,
second video.
if
Video.
someone was connected with CopyandContent.AI and was interested in making 60-second videos, what do you think we
Oh,
ought to have?
a 60-second video genie.
Yes, that's right. The 60-second video genie is currently gestating in the bottle. I don't know
Ah,
if that's really the best
that's really
metaphor to
cool.
use, but The 60-second video genie. Yeah, absolutely. Got to have it. Got to have it.
What is the typical word count of a 60-second video?
Well, depending on how much visual stuff that you're doing, I mean, your 60-second video is going to be about 100 words or less.
Nice.
If you think about the average talking speed of us folks
Yeah.
down south as opposed to people up north, but around 100 words.
Okay.
And so you got to make it count and really, do it. But I think the other big thing is script versus winging it. Um, I I tend to wing it, and I'm like, first take Freddie.
Yeah,
I
me too.
I think that it's time to maybe retrain that a little bit. I think it need to be a little bit more emphasis on quality. The great thing is though, if you're only aiming for a really great 60-second video, Stu, how many times could you do a take of a 60-second video in 5 minutes?
At least 4 times.
At, okay, at least 4 times, right? So now it's, if you're doing 10-minute videos, you're like, look, I'm gonna bust this out. But now with a 60-second video, practice it a couple times. I'm talking to myself as much as anything, but
Yeah.
it's hey, put a little bit of extra effort into it, and maybe make it a little bit more polished. I was practicing that this morning when I took the dogs out and doing a video a few times. Hey, I could have done that a little bit better, a little better, a little better, a little better. It's like I told people with editing and stuff. Why would you spend 30 minutes editing a 90-second video when you could just reshoot the damn thing 3 or 4 times and be done with it? Um, but I think that scripting more important,
Yeah.
learning more about these algorithms and
Mm.
paying attention to the results, not just throwing stuff against the wall, but measuring results, being a little bit more strategic. That's a big thing. Another big thing, you know, do more with less.
Mm.
The game here is not to prove that you can do more work than everybody else. I think I've done that over the years. Now it's time to be more strategic. Um, what do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, let's do it. I always like shorter, is just one, it's easier to make,
Right.
and as far as time in your day, like put it this way, I do 2 live Q&As every week, and they
Hmm.
last about an hour each
Okay.
time. Like I am now pulling minute segments of those just to do this,
Okay.
right? And it's kind of like an advertisement for that hour-long Q&A, and then other stuff too. And now that I have my store onto where my YouTube is, it's even better.
How's that
So
going? Not to
great.
digress, but I mean, is that crushing it? Like, are we putting you in
Yeah.
another tax bracket again?
It's going really well. Like I notice a difference
Okay.
in sales for sure.
Okay.
And I'm working less.
Okay. There you go.
So as far as like time on that,
Right.
than I used to.
This is not an income claim. Your results may vary. So I think that's hot, but doing more with less. Um, what are some other things? I think one of the big messages also is that things change,
Yeah.
and the thing that's most important is growing and developing your team. That was another thing is I learned from being there, not necessarily from the sessions themselves, but I know who I know who my homies are.
Hmm.
I know who's with me. I know who's got my back. I know who I want on the bus with me. And that was great. We spent about 4 hours on Saturday morning, team, together, and we used this really high tech tool. I mean, it was amazing. This high tech tool that we used. In the thing, we were able to do a remote meeting. We were able to simulate this board, this electronic board. I'm gonna show it. I'm gonna show you the tool.
Cool.
Okay. We were able to do that remotely, and it was, like I said, it was amazing. And
So
actually have a piece of it left, that I was able to transport down there. Even made it through TSA and security and stuff. So this is truly high tech. So just peep this. Okay.
I knew you went old school.
Okay. I had the thingy and set it up, So I had the thing set up. It wasn't bent all the crap like this. And then dig this. Once we made our notes and came up with our action plan, all right, dig this. Then I'm sacrificing this last high-tech piece of equipment. I want you to watch this. Bam! Bam! So we had like 19 pieces of paper all over the, we had the big picture, and then I was able to bring it home, and I've got them all on the wall over there so we can see exactly what we talked about. We recorded it in Otter. So like we got the whole meeting recorded, plus we got the transcript of it, all the stuff that we were doing. But I'm gonna tell you, if you ain't got a team, you're screwed. Now, that doesn't mean, let's take a step back. That erased it. Stu, these two modalities, these two technologies apparently do not integrate well. So there you go. But who needs to be on your team? First level of your team is your family. People that love you and got your back. Your team is your friends, your real friends, not fake friends, but real friends that support you. Your team is your customers that you have relationship with. This is your team. It doesn't mean you got to have, you see all these people at these events now out there posing in the hallway. See these chuckleheads with somebody following them. They got like a camera crew, or they're doing something stupid, like in the middle of the event. All of a sudden they'll come walking up, and then they'll look out like this. And then there's some chucklehead with an iPhone, and they're making it look like it's their event that they're walking up in and stuff. And you got to laugh at them. That's not the kind of team I'm talking about. But we all got to cultivate our team, our family that supports us when we're doing all this entrepreneurial stuff, our friends that buck us up, that help us make connections, our customers that support us, that give us money, time, and attention. This is your team. All of us got a team. And that really, the people that came up to me during the event, like, hey, Jim, you really helped me. I had a guy, big guy, big guy. He's like, Jim Evans, come here. I'm like, oh, yes, sir. I mean, this dude had to be like 6'4", 300 pounds, and it was not fat pounds, okay? I want you to know you made me a lot of money. I'm like, do I get some of it? And he's like, no, you talked to me 2 years ago. You told me, I asked you some questions, and he's a physical therapist. I asked you some questions about my practice and advertising, all this other stuff. I want you to know I'm doing 6 figures now because of what you told me to do. I'm like, dude, that's amazing. I was just people just don't know what that means.
Oh, it's the best. Yeah.
And so they're on my team. That dude's on my team. And so that was a big thing. So team, 60-second video, evolving, not being afraid to change. Those were the big takeaways this time. Susan, do you want to jump on? You got any big takeaways from the event? She's like, nah, dude, leave me alone. I'm doing stuff.
No, you cover it.
Okay. And we're nothing else?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. All right. Oh, and the other thing, and planning. The other big thing is that our big thing this afternoon, the entire team is getting together, and we are planning out the next 14 months. We are planning out the next 14 months of our business. We're going to know exactly what we're doing week by week for the next 14 months.
Nice.
So I think that's going to help everybody. So it's not going to be everybody reacting to me anymore. It's going to be us with a plan, like real grown-ups with a real business.
Nancy has something to add, and keeping it simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's been around for a while, but yeah, that's the big thing. Like how can we simplify stuff? How can we kill 10 birds with one stone? Sorry, bird lovers. But that was another thing. Let's not choose the most complicated solution. Let's choose the most simple solution. Yeah, that's good. That is good. Okay. Well, thank you, Susan. Bye, everybody. So, and that, a couple other things we're gonna, letting the team shine doesn't have to be about me. Letting people develop their own persona within the organization. I think it's, you're going to see some stuff, letting people discover their own genius, use it to contribute to the cause. I don't have to be at the center of everything. Do we have any questions or anything? It's great to see you too, Anne. Ann Kesselman makes her own booze, Stu. I learned something. She makes her own brown liquor. Now you got to respect the lady that shows up with her own bourbon. I mean, I like it. I was duly impressed.
That is pretty cool.
With
that's a good business card.
You want to drink of my booze? I made it myself. Depending on which convention you were at.
Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, that's pretty much what I got. That's today's episode, unless you got something else we need to talk about.
Well, tell me this, like who were some of the cool people you met?
I met some cool people on the last night. I met a dude who looked like a cross between Jesus, a hippie, and I'm not sure what, but just super nice guy who helps businesses really just find peace. That's the only way I can describe it. Dude just gets into your business and helps you figure out how to find peace in your business.
That's
great
cool.
story. Interesting. Met with him and his head trainer and his son. We went to the hibachi place, and just by accident, we were at the same table, but nothing's by accident. Great conversation with him. Had a great conversation, and I don't want to leave anybody out. So if I, but just notable stuff. The cool things happen by accident, not I'm going to go meet so-and-so, and this is the whole reason I'm here, and I'm going to hang out in the hallway and stalk them. It's like the chance encounters that end up being almost like you can see the God's hand in your path, So another guy, Kevin Anson, he's actually amazing video ad producer. He spoke from stage. I've known Kevin for years. He's the one I was referencing. A guy I've known for years, but like this time around, it was like, hey, dude, I think we can do some business together. This dude has run over 10,000 video ads, ran a bunch of ads for me through the partnership, and he's come out with a course, and it looks amazing. So we're actually going to be doing some cool stuff with him. Met some of the people from my accountability group that I'm in with Bart, and got to know some of them. In fact, I have a meeting at 11 o'clock with one of the guys that I met through there, who's going to promote Copy and Content. Seeing Dan Kennedy again was interesting. That was interesting.
Why?
He gave me, I mean, it was interesting. It was interesting. It was different dynamic than last year. Mainly because it was forced. I mean, it wasn't forced, but it a lot less time. Didn't have a half a day, had like 60 minutes.
Right.
I think the biggest thing is though is just being around the people, being around the customers, being around friends I hadn't seen in a while, getting that feeling of, you're not alone. That's really easy to do when you're working by yourself. And even seeing people through the little postage stamp of Zoom or something like that is not the same as actually being with them. You and I had that conversation a few weeks ago when I was like, hey, dude, I haven't, I see you all the time, on average, once or twice a week, but have only physically been with you twice in our whole lives.
Yeah.
And I noticed that we're both shrinking. We're not as tall as we used to be. Uh, but that just being with the folks, being with the customers, being with the people that make it all happen. Um, Spending those moments, like that personal human connection, like these aren't just people on a screen, names, a little picture, a credit card number, an email address. These are people.
Yeah.
And being able to hear how what we do makes a difference, and is affecting people. I can say though that the biggest, coolest encounter that I had, if I had to nail it, was actually getting to spend some time with Eric Thomas, E.T., the hip hop preacher. E.T. is an incredible dude. And I met him because his son actually went through the WriteYourBook.AI challenge. And he told me that he was just so impressed with his son. With his son was so excited he was paying attention. And so I got to spend an hour with ET. We went by Starbucks, got him a drink, we went for a walk, and just got to know one another. I'm hoping something cool comes out of that. But just spending time like that with somebody, having that opportunity without, like, in person, like going for a walk with somebody for an hour. When was the last time you went for a walk with somebody for an hour and just talked about life and kids and religion and a little bit about business, but like got to know somebody as a human being? When was the last time you actually did that?
Yeah. Damn.
And
He's
how
got
much
quite a following.
he's freaking huge, man. He's got like
Yeah.
1.5 million followers on YouTube. I know that. I don't even know what it is on the rest of social
No,
media, but
at the bottom of his like ericthomas.com, he's got 1.2 million YouTube, 2.1 million Instagram, 1.7 Facebook,
yeah.
half a
And
million TikTok, half a million Twitter.
and you will never meet a nicer dude. And people come up to say hi to him, and he's like, stops, listens, acknowledges, and not in one of those fake ways of, but like, hey, how you doing? Thank you. That kind of stuff. And
Nice.
I was like, dude, this dude's a super servant, and just a nice, genuine dude. So that was probably the highlight for me of the entire thing, of in and amongst a whole lot of highlights, but that was probably the biggest highlight. And then he gave me a shout out from stage. And
Nice.
so the next day when he spoke, he gave me a shout out from stage, which I was like, yeah, like, yay, Jim, that was kind of cool. But I'd say also, okay, another highlight, getting to spend a whole bunch of time with Terry, because she's like Lazarus, man. She's out that sick bed. Now she's out getting out there, but spending time with Terry and Susan and Nancy, being able to go on runs with Susan several times, which we have, we don't get to do that very often. Being able to spend time with my family, my core team, and we all got along really great. Everybody got along. I don't think I pissed them off, but 5 or 6 times the whole time. I mean, it was like, it was awesome. So that was a real highlight. I was just filled with pride at my team. These are my people here, I mean, I was walking down the hall arm in arm with Terry, had my people with me, and we was like Reservoir Dogs, man. If we could have had a soundtrack with slow-mo and stuff blowing up behind us, in my mind, that was what was happening. This is me. This is my posse. So it was awesome. Only thing that would have made it better if you and Dexter had been there. Would have had you on either side of us and real explosions. You would have had like a machine gun going off and stuff, and would have been awesome.
I like that.
Yeah. Anything else? Any other thoughts?
What did you do there? What was your role in the event?
So my role in the event was to be awesome. Not just playing. My role in the event was to interview Dan Kennedy, to wrangle him on the topic of dramatic demonstrations. So my role was to help draw out of him that particular training. He was kind of grumpy that night, so I had to put on my shark skin. But it was good. And it was, like I said, I said at the beginning of the presentation, I said, if any of you country music fans, how would you feel if you got to go on stage and play with Willie Nelson? And that's the way I feel right now as someone, as a copywriter, course creator, trainer, coach, but in my capacity as a copywriter, to be able to sit here with Dan, who literally pioneered modern direct response marketing, along with some others. That's like playing on stage with Willie Nelson.
Yeah, that's a good
analogy. So it was a big deal. So that was my role in this one. And I think they've got some changes coming. I think they're evolving. So I think my role there has evolved, but all things. And like I said, we're going to start doing our own events. I want to start that's one of the goals. We are going to do a live land-based event next year. I'm sure it will be on something involving AI and something involving copy content, how to get more leads, how to make more sales, and how to build stronger, more profitable relationships with the people you're called to serve, otherwise known as your avatar. I'm sure this will be kind of the theme of it. So, and in the comments, just for grins, those of you who are here with us live, if we had a land-based event, if in other words, it wasn't the gym boat, you weren't getting on a cruise ship, would you be interested? If we had like a real live come in person event, is that something that you would be excited about? Let us know. So
yeah, we should do a live Jim and Stu show.
Oh,
you
absolutely.
You gotta do a live you and Dexter show.
Absolutely. That's great. Hey, we got 2 segments.
Yeah, there we go.
We'll get up there, and we'll even have the background so it looks like we're on, like, they used to make the fake IDs. You'd sit in front of the poster board and they'd take your picture and develop it as a picture. We'll have like the background so it looks like we're inside of StreamYard or on Zoom or something.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
So awesome. Okay. Well, that's what I got. That's it. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate you, Stu. Missed you. We're gonna pick back up. We'll be on next week, and then the following week, I'm actually speaking at Coldwell Bankers International event.
Cool.
So we won't be there for that one, but we'll definitely keep rolling on down.
Maybe we make some 1-minute videos next week.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's do that.
That'd be fun. We'll make some 1-minute videos next week. I like it. Nancy will like it too, because she's after me now. I need content. So Sue says I would come. She said, however, cannot be in large crowds. So maybe not. Okay, Sue. Well, we can always have a VIP section. So we can have like the one section, then we'll have the, I'm thinking this would probably be like, 100, 200 person event. I'm not thinking that I'd want to do 1,000 people, simply because that's a whole next level of stuff. So there you go. Where am I the rest of the week? Right here. Yes, I'll be appearing right here virtually at the world headquarters. In fact, tomorrow, inside of CopyandContent.AI, I'll be doing a live workshop with Dexter right here on the virtual stage.
I love it.
And then we'll have lunch at my house. So I'd prefer to do it here. Anyway, Stu, I just appreciate you, man. Susan, I
Yeah.
appreciate you too. Thanks for being here. Any final thoughts? Any questions we need to answer? Are we good, Susan? We're good?
I
Okay.
think we're good.
Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. Well, we'll see y'all soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye, everybody. Oh, and if you're not a member of CopyandContent.AI yet, you should be. Head on over to CopyandContent.AI. Join. We got some cool trainings coming up next week, and you can be a part of those. Bye-bye, everybody.